You can call me Kevin, guys, and currently I'm working as a lecturer. But not only lecturing, I'm also the head of digital solutions for a law firm in USA, and then I also a freelance graphic designer, a web and mobile apps designer, and then previously I have spent 5 years as a journalist traveling all around Indonesia. This is Indonesia's map. You can see we are an archipelago country with more than 17,000 islands. And then I have to travel around 50 cities as a one-man journalist and digital media trainer. So, and that's when I have to present myself as an Indonesian Chinese to people with new culture, with certain stereotype to the Indonesian Chinese. And one common fact for you guys, that not all Indonesian Chinese can speak Chinese. And I'm one of them. Well, I learned Chinese a little bit back then. And I'm trying to practice that a little bit right now. 所以如果这里有人想教我中国，我会很高兴. Yeah, I hope I pronounce it right, and I hope you can understand me. Okay, great. So I'm doing my work as a lecturer right now, and I'm trying to make it concise. What is stereotype? Let's go to the basic. That stereotype is a biased notion that people carry about the meaning of various stimuli, that when they encounter it, they add these biases to what they see or hear, and that will form a mostly distorted impression. So guys, based on this definition, we know that the key trait in stereotype, that it is bias. Okay, whether a stereotype is true or not, it is commonly biased. And bias means two things. The first one, that it is based on our personal opinion. It is subjective. And the second, it is unreasonable. So why do they think that Indonesian Chinese are antisocial, that we are separating ourselves from the other race or ethnic group amalgamation? Because that's what I've been taught by my parents, because that's what happened in my society. And when they encounter a confirming experience with the Indonesian Chinese, that biased notion will be validated. And why do we do it? Why do we stereotype? Simply because it helps us to think easier, because it helps us to give opinion about other people faster. Back when I was in elementary school, my dear friends, my teacher taught me that as a younger person, you should offer your seat to the elder, right? And why do we do that? Because they are physically weaker. They are physically weaker than you. And that's a stereotype. We believe that elderly people are physically weaker and in need for that seat more than me, or younger people. And there are 4 triggers of stereotype. The first one is the physical appearance, visual attributes. For example, sexy hot models. We tend to stereotype that they have more expertise to beauty enhancement product, you know, like jewelry, perfume, skincare products, but no to beauty correcting products like anti-dandruff shampoo or anti-acne face wash. And then the second, the trigger of stereotype is descriptive term, which focus on verbal message. Once my friend, he picked me up because we want to hang out. And one of my other talkative friend, he said, "Bro, please drive faster, bro. You drive like a woman." See, females in Indonesia, at least in my social circle, females are being stereotyped as a slower driver than the male. Yeah, and that's happening in Indonesia. And the third, first impression. The third trigger to stereotype is first impression. And first impression, it tends to be lasting because, guys, we don't really have the second chance to make a first impression. You know what I'm saying? And those experiences that I had traveling around Indonesia, whether I like it or not, I represented the Indonesian Chinese. Because most of the indigenous people all over the cities, they never really had the chance to communicate and to test those stereotypes they have. I am the ambassador of the Indonesian Chinese. They only hear about us, They only know about us, but they don't really experience us. The way I speak, the way I behave, the way my body language, and then people will evaluate Indonesian Chinese through a KFN, through me. So if they have the stereotype that Indonesian Chinese is arrogant, that's my only chance to prove that they're wrong. Through my speaking manner, through my gesture, body gesture, and through my decorum. And the last trigger to stereotype is the halo effect. A stereotype is triggered when an object is evaluated based on just one or a few dimensions. For example, whenever I speak slowly, showing charisma with a proper smile, the people in those cities that I visited will think that I am a polite and respected person, and they will respect me back. And in marketing context, guys, halo effect influence us to behave in certain way. For example, Fiona, may I ask you a question, Fiona? Okay, Fiona, let me ask you something. What's one most important thing that you will buy when you are going to visit Hawaii for vacation?
Oh, good question. I think, well, for me, I probably buy a skirt with like a typical Hawaiian patterns.
Good choice. Thanks, Fiona, for the response.
No problem.
Okay, guys, what Fiona chose when she wanted to go to Hawaii, the skirt with the Hawaii pattern, that's halo effect. Okay, because Hawaii's name is the prestigious image of a beach, and that's why Fiona decides to go with the skirt. Right, Fiona? Yeah. And it relates directly to the vacation product, you know, like not only skirt, but sunglasses, sunscreen lotion. But guys, you don't have to buy those products when you visit Hawaii. I've been to Hawaii before. And after the visit, my conclusion for the most important thing you have to buy when you visit Hawaii is the bus daily pass. Okay, the bus ticket, daily ticket, because it will be cheaper to wander around Hawaii. So I'm sorry to, I don't know, ruining your imagination to visit Hawaii. No sunglasses, no skirt. Okay, and halo effect, guys. Halo effect also influence our stereotype to people. That's why as a student, you guys, the students, and me as a lecturer, I will give you some advice. If you turn on your camera during classes, believe me, the lecturer will appreciate you more, because you give this impression that you're really into the class, you know, you like the lecture, that you are paying attention to the lecturer, even though you are daydreaming or whatsoever. And of course, the lecturer will remember you more. And I hope you will get better grades because, you know, oh, this is Fiona, oh, this is Francisca, this is Jenny, this is Nick. I remember you guys because you always open your camera in every lecture. And a study, guys, I found a study that posits that stereotype can be categorized into 4, and allow me to directly give each point an example based on my experience living in Indonesia as a Chinese. The first one, it's physical stereotype. In Indonesia, the stereotype is Chinese has slanted eyes and lighter skin color. Well, I mean, it's not up to us. We cannot really customize that. I mean, Mom, please make me lighter or darker and with wider eyes. No, we cannot customize that, of course. Yeah, and the second category of the stereotype is the social system. Chinese in Indonesia, guys, we are being discriminated in the context of law, especially after one of our former president had made a restriction to celebrate the Chinese holiday, putting on the Chinese ornaments publicly, Chinese writings publicly. Then the next president canceled those regulations. And it's a great decision. Indonesia got another holiday because of the Chinese New Year, and everyone get to Han Kung Pao. And the third one, social role and class stereotype. We are immigrants. For the original Indonesian, we are immigrants. The Indonesian Chinese are immigrants. We don't want to work in political field that we only love business. We only love doing business. We are seen in a way that we want to dominate the economy, the local economy. Well, I mean, yes, the Chinese loves money. That's right. But again, who doesn't, right? Yeah, and then the fourth, the last, cultural and language stereotype. Classic. People have been impersonating the Chinese dialect. You know, like, ai à, 我不穿我 Anglo, 我不穿我 Anglo, 你不给我钱我不要. But we don't speak like that anymore. We don't speak like that. So based on those stereotypes, they will somehow put a distance first and evaluate the Chinese. They will observe and decide whether this guy is the stingy Chinese, whether that guy is the rich and clever Chinese, whether this guy is the rich but fool Chinese, etc. As for me, a Chinese descent, they know that Chinese family in Indonesia is closely related to middle and high economic level. Okay, and Chinese descent stereotype in Indonesia, shown by a study, are rich but stingy. Okay, we are rich but stingy. I don't know about that. We don't want to look for trouble, but we are rude. Okay, that's surprising. And if you are a Chinese in Indonesia, you must at least own a business or a shop. And then they think that the Indonesian Chinese, we are the superior. Okay, we are on a higher social role, social rank. And then we are opportunists, we are loyalists to our ancestor. Okay, so yeah, you can give your opinion about that. So what do we do? What do we do to those stereotypes? As an academician, guys, all I can say is diversity. It should be preserved. The younger generation should be encouraged to live in diversity and not to discriminate a race or an ethnic. Once I had this interreligion discussion about intolerance, and when radicalism is threatening Indonesia's harmonious future, I said this is exactly our momentum to suppress radicalism and intolerance, because those older generation who live long enough with the stereotypes, with the prejudice, with the racism and injustice, they will soon die because of the old age. The problem is their inheritance, it may linger. They taught their kids and grandchildren about how to behave, to think about certain ethnic, what's their stereotype, what to do with them and what not to do with them. But when they face the reality, the real world, in a situation where they have to communicate with those stereotype ethnics, that's exactly when those ethnic have their chance to prove that those older generations are wrong. Those stereotypes are obsolete. My Chinese parents may be stingy, racist, rich, but I am not them. I am tolerant to diversity. I even embrace it. I'm not racist. And the most important thing, I'm not rich yet. Yeah, just because I'm Chinese doesn't mean that I am a money magnet. You know, that's another stereotype that I would gladly live with if it is to happen. And currently we can joke about stereotypes in a more safe state in Indonesia. Influencers, digital influencers, social media influencers, they make content about it. They produce content about Indonesian Chinese stereotypes and the audience like it. And this is a real progress for us because people are starting to realize that negative stereotypes, they don't really bring a good benefit in terms of living in a multi-diverse country like Indonesia. And of course, this fighting against stereotype, it has to be a communal effort. I cannot do it alone. The Indonesian Chinese cannot do it alone. And the indigenous people in all over the cities that I visit, they cannot do it alone. We have to collaborate. Remember when I travel, I was representing the Indonesian Chinese all over the Indonesia? Yes, the polite behavior, the decorum, those positive impression I tried to give, I didn't do it because I want to vindicate the stereotypes, no. But because it's the right thing to do. No matter what your ethnic, religion, and race is, I believe everyone should behave well, should do good, and to be kind to each other. And I'm closing my sharing session with a quote from Abhijit Naskar, a neuroscientist and an author. Make assumption if you must. It's inevitable to have a stereotype to certain race or ethnic, but make not the mistake of assuming that the assumption is always right. Just because we have stereotype doesn't mean it's always right. So I think that's all from me. thank you so much for the attention. And this is all the reference that I use in this 10 minutes because I'm a lecturer and I have to show my credibility as a lecturer. So thank you guys. Have a good day wherever you are. Bye.